On this episode of DC On Screen, a Batman the Animated Series sequel is rumored to be in the works at HBOmax. We want it to be great, but we have some reasons it might not scratch the itch you think it will. Also, we stand with Ray Fisher, but Warner Media stands with Walter Hamada and Geoff Johns. Plus, we make our draft picks for the Suicide Squad Deadpool as suggested by DC On Screen super listener J. Scotty St. Clair. All that, and so much more, coming up right after these enchanted murmurs from emaciated monks with amputated tongues.
We all love the low country lifestyle, which is why we should do our best to protect it. To get insurance that helps you protect your home from whatever the low country throws at you, contact CT Lowndes & Company today. Their local agents can review your coverage to help make sure you're properly protected. CT Lowndes & Company has been helping protect and insuring the low country since 1850. Visit ctlowndes.com to learn more and request a quote. That's ctlowndes.com.
Breast milk science. It's a thing. And it's our thing. We're ByHeart. We're an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most super food on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We make our formula in our own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania, using a small batch manufacturing process that works to preserve the integrity of our ingredients. We ran the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in 25 years and clinically proved benefits like easier digestion, less gas, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. We were the first infant formula company to earn the Clean Label Project Purity Award. And while we've put a lot into ByHeart, there's a long list of things you won't see on our ingredient list, like no corn syrup, no maltodextrin, no GMO ingredients, no soy, no palm oil. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 624. This is the podcast where we talk about the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, give honest opinions on projects upcoming and past, and believe that every version of a property is valid, even if we don't want it to be. If it's been released, it is fair game, so beware of spoilers, and welcome to the show. I'm David C. Robertson, and this, the man who once chased his great aunt with a steak knife because she wouldn't take him to Outback Steakhouse, Jason Goss.
When you read Outback, it felt like you were reading off a police report. Like, it felt like you just turned the page and went, and so-and-so to Outback Steakhouse?
Yeah.
Like, part of your brain was expecting to be like, because she wouldn't take him to Shoney's. Outback Steakhouse.
I think it's even funnier that your brain went to Shoney's.
Should have been Chili's, I guess, maybe.
Well, Outback does have that bloomin' onion.
I mean, I thought
delicious.
that was Chili's thing originally.
Oh, I have no idea.
I
don't
remember
anymore. Chili's having that. Yeah, I liked that Chili's thing. What did they have? It's like a little skillet that came out. They had like beans, like cheesy beans in a skillet. So
Probably.
good. Oh my God.
They would melt anything over anything and put it on iron and bring it to you.
Fantastic.
For a price, for sure.
Yeah. Bring me some satchel of corn chips.
Here's the annoying part is like even saying the word Chili's, you know, like you have the song in your head, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
The baby back ribs.
Yes, of course.
Song? Yes.
I don't actually want to do it in case someone has escaped this fate.
No. I'll
spare them, but you got to give the marketing credit, man. I mean,
yeah.
It's been 25 years, I think, since I first heard that song.
25 years. That was, yeah. It was good marketing.
And, you know, looking back, the funny part is they had all these, people performing it on the commercial as though they were part of the crew, just singing along, you know, and it had like an acapella kind of feel to it, a little bit barbershop kind of thing going on.
A little bit. And
the part that cracks me up in retrospect is they had these, you know, actors pretending to be backhouse workers and servers, BOH and FOH if you're unfortunately very familiar with that terminology. And they had actors portraying the actual people doing it, and you had singers portraying the people who were acting because they probably weren't the actual actors who performed the track. And looking back, I kind of, know from my own experience, you probably could have just walked into a random fucking Chili's and found people talented enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's food service. Do you know how many people are sneaking around in food service that have like incredible artistic talent? You probably could have just wandered into a couple, done a couple auditions and pulled some out of an area and been fine.
Probably.
It's bothered me looking back. I still won't sing the song to save the couple of you who don't quite remember it, and bless you. Bless your hearts.
Yeah. And I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to. Before we get started, I do want to thank the patrons. $1 a month gets you every episode ad-free. $5 a month gets you that, plus whatever else we decide to record. We just recorded a whole bunch of stuff. We just a whole conversation, just rattling on. Who knows what we talked about? George Harrison was in there. Eric Idle. I don't even know what all.
Shirtlessness in general.
Shirtlessness, yes. We did talk about douchebags who don't wear shirts.
Mm-hmm. And whether they're really douchebags.
Yeah. If you don't want to do a Patreon, or if you already do and want to help us out even more, you can always go to dconscreen.com and click the donate button. And if you want to support the show and get some swag for it, you can check out our merch store linked on dconscreen.com. Right next to the donate button, it says store, appropriately enough.
Sure.
Or you can always leave us a 5-star written review on Apple, or you could share us on Facebook, or whatever the things. Whatever. Just do it.
We're all the places.
Because
You'll find us.
We're desperate for your help.
All roads lead to DC on Screen.
Well, not all roads, apparently.
Enough roads. If you look for DC on Screen, lead to DC on Screen.
Right. So,
if specifically the one road you're looking for says that phrase, you will find us.
Mm-hmm. So, normally I would leave this for the TV section, but this is actually big enough. It's not even news. It's a rumor, but this is big enough rumor and coming from reputable enough sources that I'm going to put it at the top of the show. And this is going to be the title of yeah.
I know exactly what you're going for here.
So apparently HBO Max is looking at doing a revival of Batman the Animated Series.
Yep.
Man. Like, that is like the best / worst news I've ever heard.
Let's work backwards. Why is it the worst?
Why is it the worst?
Yeah.
Batman and Harley Quinn. Batman: The Adventures Continue.
You're talking about some of the recent. Okay. All right.
The recent comics by Paul Dini and Alan Burnett are terrible. And Bruce Timm's, not his latest contribution, because Fatal 5 or whatever it was actually pretty good. But Batman and Harley Quinn was just atrocious and weird. And so, yeah. Let's actually get to the news portion real quick.
I don't have a lot of love lost on that part. I get that.
Right. And yeah, I've made no bones about the fact that the comic book that they've been doing, Dini and Burnett, I don't like. Burnett is apparently very much against Batman Beyond. Dini wasn't there for Justice League, so if they came in and started doing stuff, like it's one of those weird catch-22s, because I wouldn't want Batman the Animated Series to come back with without Bruce Timm, Alan Burnett, and Paul Dini. Also, I'm terrified of it coming back with those guys. I'm terrified of it coming back, period. Like, I'm kind of like, just let it be, but I'll watch every damn second.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, so my immediate thought was like, oh no, you mean I have to watch the entire thing again to catch up and make sure I'm refreshed before this happens? Oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
You know, but part of me was just thinking like, man, I mean, I get it. There have been things that I didn't vibe with at all, and you know what's happened since then. There are things internally that they didn't like about what's happened since even just the original BTAS episodes aired. Mm-hmm. So there's plenty of rocking the boat to worry about. But
plus, it's HBO Max, and I feel like those guys just naturally want to gravitate towards like an R-rated type of situation. And I'm not necessarily against that,
I don't know. I mean, they've got to spread their wings a little bit.
That's fine, but maybe just to a PG-13 or something. Because when they're left, I kind of feel like part of the magic, or I don't even kind of feel like it, I totally feel like the magic of Batman the Animated Series. And it was something that the New Adventures, or whatever you call it, the Gotham Knights, whatever it was, Batman Superman Hour, those episodes didn't capture. Because they had a little more freedom, just a little more freedom on WB, on Kids WB. One of the things that didn't capture that Batman Animated Series had was those censors, the standards people, hounded them day and night, and they had to fight for everything they got to do and had to come up with creative ways to do what they wanted to do, where you wouldn't see it on camera or on screen. So to me, that show was brilliant in many ways because it forced you to imagine the horrors of what was going on. Like the episode where Gordon gets shot and we just see like Gordon face down on the pavement and Batman goes and he's like, oh my God, no, or whatever. Like that was like
the no eyes that character can do. No. Or Clayface, the Clayface Alley scene.
Yes.
They just had to show it in shadow a little bit.
Yes, they have to show them pouring the miracle salve or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was called. Miracle salve. That's from Andy Griffith's show. Opie was trying to sell it. Anyway.
Miracle salve.
A bunch of snake oil.
Yeah.
But so I kind of feel like part of the beauty of that show, and one of the reasons why it really worked well and better than anything else in that canon, is because they had those restrictions, and they kind of were forced to do like very creative storytelling. I don't foresee them doing that on HBOmax. They're going to let their freak flags fly. They're going to have tits. They're going to have, Harley Quinn strapping dudes down, like, Nightwing down or whatever. They're going to have Harley Quinn farting in people's faces. They're going to have all the weird shit. Farting. But they literally had her farting in the back seat of a car.
I know,
like,
and
for
that
long
was
stretches.
One of my major grievances with that movie. But there's part of me that'd be like, okay, well, let's see where this goes. And there's a part of me that thinks, if you bring in the original people and they try to get close to the original tone, I just don't know where the direction is going to be, because this is still very much in the rumor phase. So I don't know where the direction is going to be as far as who's involved, who's deciding who should be involved. I just don't know what trajectory the thing might have at this point. So I don't know. There's plenty of things I could be afraid of for sure.
There's the news comes from Fat Man Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Bernardin said the rumor is that HBOmax is looking at making Batman the Animated Series sequel, that they want to continue that forward. And Smith gets a big smile on his face, Kevin Smith, and says, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he says, I'm not involved, but I too have heard this, and I've heard this from very reliable people. When I heard it, I freaked out, and I heard this, I would say, a month before you just said it. I think that's real. I don't think that's a rumor. I wouldn't say set your watch to it, but as an idea whose time is not only coming, I think it came and it's smoking a cigarette. I think that's going to happen. So,
he is a man for imagery.
He says, that to me is a no-brainer. You've got HBO Max. You're already doing that amazing Harley Quinn show, which it is amazing. He says, you're printing money. If you go back and do Batman the Animated Series, he says, you can't fuck up the legacy. That's for damn sure. You can't fuck it up. There's no reason not to do it. As long as you've got the key creative components, as long as Bruce Timm is involved, wants to be there. I think you can. I mean, you're not going to destroy the legacy necessarily, but I'll be excited and I'll be there.
Especially in our times, the idea of destroying the legacy to me is I've gotten over it to some extent.
Yeah, like, I mean, when you don't look at the Andy Griffith show, since I already brought it up.
Yeah, since it's on the table.
You don't say like, man, those 5 years would have been great if the colored episodes weren't there. No, you just go like, oh man, that show was great, except for the colored episodes.
Yeah, I get it.
So with Batman the Animated Series, you go like, oh man, that show's great, except for the HBO Max shows.
Yeah, and that's like, I feel like you can do that too, where you just say, hey man, I liked the show when I was a kid up to this point, and then I just didn't care for it after that, and that's fine. Like, the same way you say, man, after season 3, I just didn't feel like I was vibing with the show anymore. Okay, cool, great. I'm glad it worked for you when it did, but
I mean, I enjoyed the 4th season. Don't get me wrong, I vibed with it. It was just
I'm not even talking about a specific season. I just meant
not the same.
I just meant a generic show with a season change.
Well, I did say it diminished. I said that it diminished once it got to Kids WB and it went on to Nightwing and Tim and all that. But I mean, those are 22 very interesting and
still had something to offer.
Fun episodes. Had something to offer, absolutely. Yeah. I loved it in the way for continuing the continuity and aging the characters up. And it was a great bridge to Batman Beyond, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And see, that's another thing. And I can always, the thing about this is like, I can always go, well, if they start veering away from continuity, I can say, oh, well, this is just an offshoot. This is a parallel reality. That's fine, because that's what we preach here. Multiverse. But you know, like Dini and Burnett have been doing this comic, and they are just trying to they have tried to shove in as many things as possible. Like, they're like, by the way, there was a Jason Todd, and by the way, he's still around. He's Red Hood now, and by the way, this happened, and they just never said it anywhere. And also, look, here's Jean-Paul Valley, and Batman just happens to have an armored Batman suit that he gives him, and it's the Nightfall suit. And by the way, here's Deathstroke for no damn reason. And like, it's just been like,
I only read like the first issue, but I get it. I mean, they were trying to put a pin on some things.
They're like, by the way, here's Lex Luthor wearing his kryptonite suit like 10 years before he wore it in continuity.
I mean,
Okay.
and I get it. Like, there's something to be said for trying to fit some stuff in and do some fan pleasing. And truthfully, like, pleasing the fans in this medium is something you should always have at least an eye out for.
But here's the thing: is with that comic, I'm not sure that was them. I'm sure I feel like DC came to them and said, "Here are the things you have to include," because they were making a line of figures called Batman, the Batman Adventures or something, that was an offshoot of their animated series lines, and it was going to be like, oh, what if Jason Todd had been in the animated series? And it was all the people they were cramming into that comic were the figures that were coming out.
Yeah, that has been a plague on this industry since well before our time.
Not to say that I didn't want the figures. They were good-looking figures.
I'm not saying I'm not part of the problem. I'm saying I didn't actively enable it.
I think I did, but
I get it.
anyway, so everybody out there, let us know what you think about the new Batman animated series sequel. If you want one, like if they do one, do you want it to be Jason? Do you want it to be set during the Batman animated series, or do you want it to be set during the New Adventures? Just pick up from there, Nightwing without a mullet or whatever, or do you want it to be like? I would want it to be in between that and Batman Beyond.
Yeah, for me, that's definitely where the story is. New Adventures are probably, I don't know, it'd be a coin toss as far as are they going to keep that or not? If it conflicts with continuity, is that, to be damned or whatever? And that will, again, if this gets beyond rumor and we get to hear some names of people involved, and granted, I mean, yeah, I'm saying it's rumor, but, Smith's legit. I mean, it's not like I'm saying, it's just a rumor.
Yeah, like all the shit he's been hearing about Justice League and stuff he's been talking about for months, and a lot of that's coming out as true now. So.
Yeah, he's not, dude, this is not a blogger. I mean, we're not talking about somebody that is talking out of their ass, for sure. I'm just saying if it gets beyond rumor to the sense that we actually get to name names about who's involved, then I would be more comfortable taking a guess at what direction we're heading in. But that's it.
Yeah.
I could speculate about any version of it, and I could say which one I would like. And what I would like is something between BTAS and, or the variations of BTAS and Batman Beyond, that ties in parts of the story that are available between those pages. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to include or not include the New Adventures or anything.
Right.
Or
I desperately want to
stuff on the
find
page.
out. Yeah, I desperately want to find out what happened to Nightwing. That was one of those things that we just we knew he went to Bloodhaven. That was about it.
Yeah. I mean, shit, at the time, I would have been cool with him having his own Bloodhaven show.
Oh God.
I would have watched a season of that in a heart fucking beat, man.
I would watch it even if they left the mullet.
Yeah. Even with, I would have been okay with it.
Get Lord and Lester back and let's do this.
Yeah.
So
That's another thing we haven't mentioned is one of the things, because if we're talking about a BTAS revival of any kind, I don't know how expansive it would be. I don't know how much they would have to involve other voice actors, but man, some of the original voice actors get me a really good sound alike or get me the actual thing.
Right. I mean, I expect Kevin Conroy just has to come back. I expect Mark Hamill, you better back that Brinks truck right up to his door.
And don't get me wrong, man. I think you have to give him his due and his pay. But I think he would do this for something reasonable. I don't think he would. Yeah. He's not going to make you sell the studio or take a second mortgage to make this happen. I mean, I think he would be interested in doing it.
I don't want to hear Melissa Rauch back as Harley Quinn. Like, give me Tara Strong. I know we can't do Arlene, but give me Tara. Yeah. Like, come on. Yeah. Starting to sound like Job. Come on.
Tara is still super active. These largely these are people that are very employed. You were talking about her IMDb page.
I was talking about something.
These are all people that are super employed, super, I don't know, not necessarily available. I'm sure they're very busy, but these are people that could be contacted is all I'm saying. And it would be tragic in some ways to not have them involved.
As many of them as you can. Yeah,
exactly. As many as you can. It's not all going to work out, and I'll accept that in advance. And thank you for trying. But
I'll be honest.
Appreciate trying.
Man, it's tough because Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. is gone. We've lost him.
Yeah.
He was Alfred. We've lost Bob Haskins, Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
So honestly, if we were going there, if we actually did, like, I feel like I don't want anything set during the interim between Batman the Animated Series and New Adventures. I want it somewhere between New Adventures and Batman Beyond. That way you can go ahead and have Alfred have passed away. You could have Gordon passed away. You could actually have, like, you could do post Tim, becoming Joker Jr. in Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
You could really reset and have, like, Batman alone and
limit some of your expenditures, which is probably
limit expenditures. Have Nightwing show up from time to time, a bitter, angry Nightwing.
Yeah.
And really, really jump into, like, what does a post Joker Gotham look like? Like, what is it? You can even play with some of the stuff from, like, Arkham Knight. You can play with, have, like, maybe Joker comes to Batman in dreams. There's so many things you can do.
I can deal with any of that. I'm on board. I mean, I like your vision here.
That way, Mark doesn't have to do quite so much.
Yeah.
And we could do, like, little flashback episodes if you want, where, like, I always liked that in Batman Animated Series where they, like, showed, Batman, like, Robin's Reckoning, like, back when he had, like, the black bat symbol and the pouch belt. But, before he did it again. It's like,
yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm interested to see where it all goes, but so many of those people have passed away or is just not in good health. It's a tough one.
It would be. And, recasts like that are easier than if you're recasting for a screen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sound-alikes are easier than look-alikes and sound-alikes, for sure.
Yeah. I don't just need Bruce Timm doing, like, a 5-second cameo of Two-Face.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can probably get somebody who can really, really dig in and do the voice, or at least approximate the voice pretty well and move on. I mean, it's not like when Tom Baker took over, I didn't think he did a great job. I would still
Troy Baker.
Sorry.
Troy
Baker. My bad.
Tom Baker is the fourth Doctor.
Damn it, you're right. And I would not have remembered that unless you pointed it out. But it's not like he didn't do a great job. It's that we still kind of have our preference, and maybe that's even nostalgia based. I have no performance wise. I have no problems with him. It's he would be fine too. Look, man, I'm just saying, like, in voice, you have some things you can. There's some flexibility that you don't have in live acting. Yep. They can choose their shot here a little bit, and that may work in our advantage.
We'll see. We shall see.
And it all could betray us horribly.
Mm-hmm. You know what I would do? Instead of doing a revival of Batman the Animated Series, honestly, I would just make a new Batman animated show, but set it in the Harley Quinn world, and just make it that Batman and that Commissioner Gordon.
I mean, I could get behind that too. That'd be a lot of fun.
Or I would just do, like, a really, like, high-end anime type of thing. Maybe not specifically anime, but,
Yeah, I never liked the visual style, so I would object. But man, I could I could also get behind like a Brave and the Bold revival. Like there's a lot of stuff that if we're just talking about revivals or variations, there's a lot of stuff that I could get behind. But seeing that there was an actual BTAS revival, even rumored and by someone who has some clout, damn, that was nice.
Yeah.
That was really nice. No matter how this shakes out, it will probably be better than nothing. We can at least say that.
I don't know.
I don't either.
There is Batman and Harley Quinn.
I said probably.
All right. Let's get to some movie news real quick. Over to The Flash, Ray Fisher says Warner Brothers has officially moved on from Cyborg. He wrote an essay. He says, I have received official confirmation. First of all, let me just say this. He posted like these 2 pictures of this essay, and his caption is, please read. And my caption back to him is, please proofread, because there are some egregious typos in this thing. And you would think that if you were sitting down, issuing something like this to the public court of opinion, which is all he really has left at this point, you would try to appear a little more professional, but okay.
I'm curious now. I didn't read this.
He says, I have received official confirmation that Warner Brothers Pictures has decided to remove me from the cast of The Flash. Well, as I understood it, though, he wasn't actually a part of the cast because
it's gone through like
down
27 variations. So I don't know. I mean, he's been in and out as far as the rumors go. And
yeah, he says, I strongly disagree with their decision, but it is one that is unsurprising. Despite the misconception, Cyborg's involvement in The Flash was much larger than a cameo, and while I do mourn the lost opportunity to bring Victor Stone back to the screen, bringing awareness to the actions of Walter Hamada will prove to be a much more important contribution to our world. On December 30th, 2020, I made it clear that I cannot, with a clear conscience, participate in any production associated with the current president of DC Films, Walter Hamada. The reasoning behind that declaration was twofold. 1. Walter's purposeful attempt to undermine the Justice League investigation in order to protect his friend and former co-president Geoff Johns. 2. Walter's attempt to protect himself by contributing to the public dissemination of lies and misinformation about myself and the Justice League investigation in Warner Brothers Pictures' September 4th statement to the Wrap. Bear in mind, Walter Hamada interfering with the Justice League investigation is a completely separate issue than the investigation itself. And while Walter's behavior was not a point of focus for the investigation of the Justice League reshoots, his dangerous and enabling actions during the investigation process must be called to account. On July 7th, 2020, during a 57-minute-long phone call with Walter, I made multiple attempts to have him escalate my claims of misconduct against Joss Whedon, Geoff Johns, and John Berg through the proper channels. Rather than escalate the situation, when initially asked, Walter disparaged Joss Whedon and John Berg in an attempt to cover for Geoff Johns. When I alerted Walter that Geoff was in fact a major contributor to the issues experienced, including blatant racism, Walter tried, but to no avail, to get me to reveal the names of witnesses and other specifics that could be used to forewarn Geoff of the claims being brought against him. Walter even went so far as to sharply dismiss certain claims of mine as untrue because of his work experience and personal relationship with Geoff. Walter indicated that he was briefed on Joss Whedon's problematic behavior well in advance of my speaking out on July 1st. That briefing likely came from Geoff Johns, with whom Walter served as co-president of DC Films. Regardless of how he was made aware, Walter knew that there was legitimacy to my claims against Joss Whedon, yet he persisted in trying to minimize and dismiss the situation, claiming that it is a producer's job to protect the director and that he was looking to move beyond anything to do with Zack Snyder's Justice League. It wasn't until I argued Walter down that he agreed to escalate my claims as asked, citing it as above his pay grade. Knowing that he had overstepped and that I had no intention of backing down, Walter made matters worse by making a tastelessly self-aware joke about not wanting me to put him on Twitter about this. Well, here we are.
I did read that part, and I loved the phrase tastelessly self-aware.
I did too.
That's gorgeous.
Despite Walter's best efforts, the Justice League investigation was able to expose the racist, coercive, discriminatory, and retaliatory behavior of Geoff Johns during his tenure with Warner Media's affiliates. It has also led to the more immediate parting of ways between Warner Media and Joss Whedon. While it may be legally and financially safer to quietly phase Geoff Johns out or to let Joss Whedon exit of his own accord. I share neither of those responsibilities. My responsibilities are and have been, 1, to try to protect those that were brave enough to lend their voice to the Justice League investigation, and 2, to use what little power I possess to ensure that the workplace behavior exhibited during the Justice League reshoots and its investigation never happens again. No one in any profession should have to argue with their employer for their claims of abuse, racism, and discrimination to be taken up the proper chain of command, and no one in any position of leadership should attempt to dissuade those wishing to report such claims from doing so. Walter's actions have transformed this narrative from an investigation of on-set misconduct in 2017 to the examination of the present-day cover-up culture of Hollywood. His contribution to Warner Brothers Pictures' September 4th statement to the Wrap was false, cowardly, and reckless. I maintain that Walter Hamada is unfit for a position of leadership, and I am willing, at any point, to submit to a polygraph test to support my claims against him. I don't know how many instances of workplace abuse Walter has attempted to cover up in the past, but hopefully the Justice League investigation will be the last. And if the end of my time as Cyborg is the cost for helping to bring awareness and accountability to Walter Hamada's actions, I'll pay it gladly. Onward, gratefully, Ray. Man.
Where to start?
Yes, I want Walter Hamada gone. As we talked about last week,
I'm there too, and I regret that only because he seemed like he was the hope for so long.
He has seemed that way. I've heard from sources. Of course, this was before the contract extension that AT&T was unhappy with Hamada, that they were looking to get rid of him, and they weren't happy with how he's handled this. They weren't happy with, the amount of money Shazam made. They weren't happy with whether or not it was a hit or not, or made enough money or not. We had somebody write into us somewhere along the line this week and tell me that I was wrong about that. And I'm like, no, it didn't make as much money as they wanted it to, which, Warner Brothers thinks that everything has to be $1 billion.
It doesn't have to be $1 billion, but
it doesn't, but that's what they want. And,
yeah, it's what anybody wants. I mean, and you should want it. I get
the
that.
Birds of Prey definitely didn't make nearly as much as it should have.
Yeah.
And, they were unhappy with the fact that he sold off, part of the responsibility of Joker because it made so much money. He wasn't a fan of that.
Sure.
So the thing is, though, is like last week
threw profit down a well as a result of that decision.
So last week we were talking about how he was, his contract was extended to 2023. This is only 2 years. That is not, it's not exactly, what I would call a vote of confidence. But
no, I mean it's 2 years. It's not.
Yeah.
You're not digging a foxhole with this person, but you're also not cutting ties right now. You've got some middle ground. And also a contract extension like that, you can kind of do a thing where you extend the contract and play with the payout amount.
Right. Or rewrite the contract so you can get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, you effectively just write it so that it's like, yeah, we're going to extend your contract for this amount, and if for any reason it gets terminated due to whatever, this is the new payout amount, and for whatever reasons that are involved, you can negotiate that how you're able.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've seen with a bunch of college coaches and NFL I see this pretty consistently in football in general.
Mm-hmm.
Any other sport, I just don't pay as much attention anymore. But yeah, sometimes you extend the contract a little bit, and then you just the coach loses the first 4 games, and you're like, well, we talked about it, we gave you a shot, and get the fuck out.
It was fun.
We gave, we all thought maybe this is how it'd go, and here's $250 million. Get the fuck out of here. We're gonna erase all your emails. Somebody's already painting over your sign in the parking lot, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You should probably remove that car before we get it towed. Just saying. You got about 25 minutes on average.
If you weren't tipped off by your sign being pulled off of your door.
We did give you a voucher for a bagel on the way out. And if you make it in time, the parking is validated.
Here's a $10 gift card for Krispy Kreme. So Warner Brothers released a statement
via deadline. In-N-Out fries. All right, go ahead.
Warner Brothers via Deadline says, as has been previously stated, an extensive investigation was conducted by an outside law firm led by a former federal judge who has assured Warner Media that there was no impediments to the investigation. Last summer, Mr. Fisher was offered the opportunity to reprise his role as Cyborg in The Flash. Given his statement that he will not participate in any films associated with Mr. Hamada, our production is now moving on. Warner Brothers remains in business with Geoff Johns, who continues to produce Stargirl, Batwoman, Doom Patrol, Superman and Lois, and Titans for the studio, among other projects. Then Ann Sarnoff, chair and CEO of Warner Media Studios and Networks Group, said, I believe in Walter Hamada and that he did not impede or interfere in the investigation. Furthermore, I have full confidence in the investigation's process and findings. Walter is a well-respected leader, known by his colleagues, peers, and me as a man of great character and integrity. As I said in Walter's recent deal extension announcement, I'm excited about where he's taking DC Films and looking forward to working with him and the rest of the team to build out the DC multiverse. All right. So then Ray releases this phone call with an investigator on Twitter, or at least a portion of it. Let's listen to that right now.
I know that this is a very time-consuming process, and I know this has not been an easy one by any means. And if ever there were any points in time where I seemed defensive or please.
Ray, you've been a gentleman. You've been a gentleman, and I'll say you've been a man of your word. And that is what we have reported to the company, which is that you told us you would give us names. You gave us names. You told us you would meet with us on a particular day at a particular time. You never tried to reschedule it. You met us. You even gave us information after that. You've been a man of your word. You are someone that we have found extremely credible. And the fact that you risked so much is part of what lends itself to your credibility. But just also, the facts speak for themselves.
All right. Now, I'm not saying he is, or that it was, but I could see someone saying, that sounded really rehearsed. Did you get that feeling?
No.
Just listening to it, I'm like, what credibility does this establish? There's no proof that this wasn't manufactured.
Well, if we go full spectrum with it, like where did the recording come from? What bona fides do we have that was anyone relevant on the other side of the phone and all that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm
not saying I don't believe
I don't doubt Fisher's acting, and I don't know who that would be on the other side, but I'm sure he could find someone who would do it if that was the goal.
Yeah. I
also think some of what the recording said would ring true here. Like if you had a lot to lose. Mm-hmm. You have so much more to lose if you try to produce this thing, and it turns out to be crap. And oh my God, it's going to be found out. Like it would be just the dumbest play if this was a shit recording.
But he's not. I have not found him. Although I stand with him, and I hope for the best for Ray, and I hope Hamada leaves, and I hope he winds up being reinstated on the Flash and all of the things. I don't feel like he has played this as well as he could have. I feel like at times he has been overly emotional, and said shit that he was hearsay for him, things that he didn't experience.
Yeah, there are moments. It wasn't flawless. But we've also seen a snippet of what's happened behind the scenes. And, I have to assume for things to have gotten as far as they did, that behind the scenes, he actually did a really good job handling it.
Yeah, but, it's
if he'd
not
been
every
a complete
time.
shit show by now, they would have buried him.
He just needs to be more careful because, he's saying he didn't step down, but he did. He said he's not going to be in anything that has anything to do with Walter Hamada. That's stepping down.
Well, no, that's stepping down if you assume Hamada's integral, and not necessarily stepping down if you assume that Hamada's just another piece. Like I could play that either way.
Schrodinger step down.
Yeah, I mean, if Hamada's as expendable as you, then you're not stepping down from the project, which is greater than you and he.
Yeah,
so you can play that either way. I'm good with it.
I guess I feel like you could play it either way, but I feel like he is being a little reckless right now.
Oh, I mean, he could be, but he also, I'm a little bit betting on the fact that behind the scenes, there is something going on. I'm not trying to be speculative here. I'm just saying that, like, for it to have gotten as far as it has in the public sphere, and for as much as we know to have actually, been shown to be true in some ways, to me, it seems like either he's just riding a certain wave to the extent that he's going to be legally, like, actionably liable, or he might actually just be trying to tell his story, and there's something to it, old systems versus new systems, and accountability and entertainment and all that, and dude, they're going to fight a little bit, and it's not going to be a clear win either way because nothing ever is in the real world. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I actually, for that reason, appreciate his message. Just greater than, not, absolute.
Which,
you just have to strive for it and see how close you can get, because that's the real world. But I don't know, man. I mean, it would be risking so fucking much for that to not be something. And he's gotten this far.
He's gotten this far. And I honestly don't quite understand Warner Brothers' play either, because I kind of feel like, dude, if you do look at everything I mentioned before about Shazam, Birds of Prey, and Joker, now with this Ray Fisher stuff, if I'm Warner Media, I'm going, dude, let's cut ties with that. Let's just move beyond that, because this narrative is not going to go away. And now what they've done is they've literally made it an ethical dilemma for fans to go see The Flash.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't completely agree with that.
I mean, I'm watching my timeline spiral down this rabbit hole of like, well, now I can't go watch the Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton run around with Ezra Miller because
I get it.
Ray Fisher, and
I get it. And there's definitely a train of thought that can go that way, and I feel like I understand it, but I'm open to hearing what I'm not seeing here. But I do completely get it, but it's also, you do have to be able to remove and separate to some extent. The system has a lot to be changed. It's nothing we didn't know before, to some extent, and there are a lot of pieces in place that may be changing that system. Anything that even theoretically had something involved that was unethical. At this point, the Flash movie may be made, and it never, if you knew nothing about it behind the scenes, might watch it and think, well, that movie makes sense entirely, and not realize anything's missing. And for you, that's not even an ethical dilemma to consider. But if you know the behind the scenes, you have these considerations. But it's real touchy there. Like there's a ton to consider. But we're also making some progress, and it's progress in a system that traditionally doesn't show a lot of good progress. And there's some serious bat steps happening right now, but there's still something to hope for. Right. And I don't think that's worth forgetting either. Yeah, it's not perfect for sure.
Yeah, I am not in any way saying we shouldn't go see The Flash. I will absolutely watch it on HBOmax with everyone else.
Yeah. In 2027.
Now, it's frustrating though, because I am seeing a lot of people go down this rabbit hole of wondering whether or not they can actually legitimately support this movie. But, the other thing to consider is that this movie is being made by a bunch of people who have nothing to do with any of this either. Muschietti, it has nothing to do with this really, from what I understand. And, you still want to support Ezra. If unless you think he actually did choke that lady, and I can't get into that because that's, who knows? No charges filed. That's all I'll say. No police called, no charges filed.
I don't want to quite go no comment, but I'll tell you, that was a very confusing piece of footage, and shit. I'm not sure what to do with it, but I'm not quite ready to just, condemn him.
I'm not ready to condemn him. The footage is, we've had people bring it up as like they weren't going to watch it, so that's fine. But because of that footage, but it's
I get it. We said at the time, I really want more information about that, and it has never. I've never seen it.
Well, we did get more information, and that information was just like the people who posted it said that the cops came, or that the bar dragged him. People at the bar dragged him outside and waited. And he stood there waiting in the snow with no shoes on, waiting for the cops to come.
I just don't think we got anything past that.
But the cops never came. Like when the reports called the cops said there were no charges filed, no police were called. We didn't even know about this.
Yeah.
There's no context to the video except for a woman is laughing as he like appears to throttle her, and then people start yelling in the background and makes it seem like something bad now is suddenly happening. I don't know what to do with any of that.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, in the small bit I saw, I was like, yeah, that could have gone real bad, and that could have been not. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know
And I would normally err on the could be bad side of it, but I really don't know. It was such a weird situation.
Yeah, and I've been in enough bars and around enough drunk people to know, like, with impaired judgment, people do all sorts of stupid shit thinking they're just playing around.
Oh, yeah. I've been there, too. I've made my apologies for such things, but, well, not exactly that kind of thing, but that's another reason I'm deeply confused.
Yeah, I don't know what it was I saw.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm at once disturbed and nonplussed. Like, I don't know what to do with it. It was strange.
Well, I mean, looking back, that's a little bit how I felt about that soundbite is, man, if you wanted to say that was scripted, I could buy it. I really could. Mm-hmm. There's no reason they couldn't pull it off. But I think there's a lot they're risking. And, hey, they even hung a lantern there in the phone call. But, damn, that's still just so much to put on the line. And then the other option is, man, maybe it actually is real and he's just pushing that hard. And the old engines that have kept turning that whole system this whole time that WB's now driving are just having trouble figuring out how to course correct, effectively. And in a new era with new rules and new ways to engage, they're just dealing with guerrilla warfare, man, and they have no idea what to do. Mm-hmm. That seems as believable to me as anything else right now.
Yeah.
Maybe he's absolutely telling the truth. And sure, he could have handled it better in certain times and protected himself a little better, I would say, at certain times. But shit, I mean, it's not like what he has said didn't kind of pan out so far.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're still going to, I'll still, I want Michael Keaton to succeed in this thing. I want more Michael Keaton Batman.
That's a wish from my own childhood, sure.
I want more Ben Affleck Batman.
Yes.
There are tons of people who are working on this thing.
If this goes well, it has so much potential to make us very happy.
Yeah, and nothing is perfect. I do sincerely wish Warner Brothers would just, I don't know, get it together, man. It's just there's been every production, man. Every production, there's some kind of horse shit. Everything. There's always some kind of horse shit, man. I'm just so tired of it. I just
want one clean fucking movie.
I just want to enjoy the thing and not know. I don't want to know about
what do you think's the closest we've gotten to no horse shit? Probably Man of Steel for me, but that was like...
Oh, Shazam.
You think so?
Yeah.
Dude, people have problems with the costume, the subway hawking Zachary Levi just to begin with.
Oh, but
I don't want Man Chuck of Steel, to be my hero.
With Man of Steel, I was already hearing, hack Snyder.
Yeah.
Like, people are already upset because, the guy from Watchmen and 300 is going to do a Superman movie.
Honestly, where at the time I was like, the guy from Watchmen and 300 is going to do a Superman movie?
Yeah, I was.
Where do I sign up for that one?
Yeah, I was pleased with that.
I'll buy open tickets right now.
And I loved the little teaser of the kid running around, of little Clark running around with his cape. I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And then all these asshole naysayers were like, well, if he was a superhero, what is he aspiring to? I'm like, freaking dicks. There can still be comic books in this world. Shut up.
Dude, the mouth eats the tail eventually too. Maybe he didn't aspire to anything for any reason, but...
And now with BVS, we could say that in the teaser, he was being Batman.
Yeah, that's true. This is true.
He was about 10. He's about 30 in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So Bruce would have been working for 20 years, he said. Shit, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways to make that work without having to fuck anything up. It's that one's... I don't know. It's not a...
See, you can't just say just because he was the first superhero in our world.
Yeah.
Means that he's got to be... No, shut up.
I mean, we're talking about a race whose genetic DNA was an entire, a third of a skull. You talking, genetic memory wouldn't apply to a race like this? I mean, you can do studies on smaller animals where you can see the lifespan of them, and in a 12-month study or something. And sure enough, you introduce them to something that induces fear in one generation, and don't introduce it to the next, and you can see like a response rate. You can see a heart rate raise when they are introduced to that thing newly. It's a weird thing. Like it's as though your genes adapt to that's terrible, and your spawn are subjected to it somehow, and not in any kind of an environmental way. Like, come on, man, the entire DNA was skull based. You tell me this isn't possible?
I can't remember who it was. Forgive me if it's you, someone out there listening. But I saw someone a while back on Twitter, I think, say like, look, Zack Snyder and Man of Steel and every subsequent Zack Snyder film in the DCEU should get a pass, because the man made it to where the entire Kryptonian civilization was encoded into a broken ass skull. How effing metal is that?
That's pretty cool. And somebody has to free dive to like escape it. After base jumping onto a flying object that they whistled at in hopes it would retrieve them.
And I just laughed my ass off and thought, this might not be the best flag to fly. Arguing that something is metal may not be the best way.
If you're just reading the comics right now,
I know.
It's a hell yes. Hard one. Hard hell yes. But
I just got a McFarlane death metal Batman. He's holding the two axes. I'm very pleased with it.
That's good luck.
Yeah. Anyway, so to move a little further on here, Fisher was doing an interview and they asked if he would be Cyborg for Zack Snyder in Justice League 2, and he said, I'd definitely pick up the phone. There's no way I wouldn't pick up the phone. That's crazy. Even if he just called me to say what's up, that phone is getting picked up. He could be like, yo, I'm going to do a Dawn of the Dead 2, and we want you to play a zombie. I'd be like, just put me way in the back. I'm fine with that.
I'll be there. We'll chill.
So, and that was something I've talked about with a few different people. Like, just because he's saying that he won't play Cyborg again or won't be in a production with Walter Hamada doesn't mean he won't be in subsequent Justice League things. Because, as I understand it, Walter Hamada has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah, at the time.
So, last bit of movie news here, and I've seen a lot of people making fun of this and just cracking up over it, and Zack Snyder's screwed again. Ha 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 ha. He doesn't get what he wants. Mm-hmm. But on Vero, Snyder confirmed that they are going to release the Snyder Cut as a single movie with a solid 4-hour pre-credits runtime, and it won't be a series. So, and he also said that the poster and the release date would be revealed soon. But, as I understood it, he wanted to eventually release it as a 4-hour movie anyway.
Yeah.
Like yes, he pitched it as a miniseries, but he pitched it to HBO as that, or HBOmax, at a time when, they needed content.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is releasing their entire slate in 2021 on HBO Max. They no longer need the content.
Yeah. I mean, through, circumstance and willpower, as most things happen, I think it's a win for Snyder, man. I mean, this is how he wanted it to be done originally. So,
I don't see it as a win or a loss, honestly. It's a win for me because I'm going to be able to see it all at once instead of watch 1 hour at a time.
I get that. I also get that he didn't want to have people wait on it a little bit too. That was just his preferred vision is all.
And I'm confused by all these people I'm seeing on Twitter and whatnot bitching about how it's 4 hours and they're not going to be able to watch it all. I'm like, do you not ever pause anything in life?
No, I mean, my favorite objection to it so far is dude, Netflix shows are 14 fucking hours a season and they drop on you all at once and no one's complaining that, well, I can't watch that in one night. Yeah, sometimes you can. I mean, we all have fucked up nights where you sit down and watch an entire season of a show. But normally if I tell you the next season of your favorite show is going to drop on Netflix, you're probably going to be there for, at least 5 or 6 hours minimum, if it's a season of a show kind of thing, and possibly up to 20. I mean, dude, why? I don't know. I don't know why that's not a complaint and this is.
Yeah, I don't know.
The pause and power buttons work the same.
But I've totally wasted an entire night. I wouldn't say wasted, but spent an entire night watching a season. Like,
I've done it, and I
did you ever
regret
watch
nothing most of the time.
Did you ever watch End of the Fucking World on Netflix?
Yeah, until like one scene, it was like, I was already waning the last couple episodes. I'm out.
I'm very curious.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. I don't want to spoil it.
Sure, but yeah,
but well into it.
Yeah, I think it was like this first season was like 8 episodes or so. Mm-hmm. And me and my wife we started it. And then at some point we realized, oh, the season's over. And we had the looks on our faces and the realization of what we had just done. I felt like we were like a couple of teenagers who in the throes of passion had gone a little too far and had accidentally slipped it in when they had fully intended to wait until marriage. The shame on our faces.
I was thinking more the like looking back and realizing that the pie is gone.
Oh no.
Eaten.
Now it did suck because we had no confirmation. We had absolutely no confirmation that it would get a second season. And
that's actually worse. That does turn the screw a little bit more. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, no, I didn't even stop to savor this. It's just over now.
Which it did have a second season, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. But everything had consequences.
Yeah, I get the instinct, though.
Everything was, I thought it was a good show. I'm very interested to see what your issues are.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's hit a break real quick, and then we'll come back and do a little TV news and get the hell out of here.
We all love the Low Country lifestyle, which is why we should do our best to protect it. To get insurance that helps you protect your home from whatever the Low Country throws at you, contact CT Lowndes & Company today. Their local agents can review your coverage to help make sure you're properly protected. CT Lowndes & Company has been helping protect and insuring the Low Country since 1850. Visit ctlowndes.com to learn more and request a quote. That's CTLOWNDES.com.
All right, we're back. Let's get into some TV news, and then we're going to have some listener feedback and a fun little Suicide Squad game that Scotty St. Clair suggested. Gwendoline Christie from the Game of Thrones there. You know about the Game of Thrones? That's a popular show. Yeah. She was in the Hunger Games and Captain Phasma, maybe, from Star Wars. I don't know who that is, but she's in that. She's
all coming out next season.
I don't know who these people are.
No idea.
Yeah, she's been cast. We don't know who as, but she's in Netflix's The Sandman. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I don't know about her, and that could be very exciting. I just don't know. Yeah, it is just exciting to hear more and more news about Sandman.
It is, and I didn't even realize I'd missed the news somewhere along the way that Tom Sturridge had been cast as Morpheus, as Dream. And I don't know that guy, but based on the pictures, I'm like, damn, dude, you look like freaking Morpheus. Okay. I mean, if Neil's okay with it, I'm down. Cool.
Yeah.
And this Gwendoline Christie has actually worked on with Gaiman on a radio adaptation of The Sleeper and The Spindle. So, yeah, woo.
I don't know if I've heard those, but I'm going to put them on the Audible book list and see if if they show up.
Sure. Over onto the Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad spinoff, James Gunn posted this a few days ago. 5 months ago, while quarantining, I was almost done editing the Suicide Squad and had just turned in a draft of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and was awaiting notes. Normally, I would try to take a break during this time and go on vacation, but with COVID, that wasn't happening. So, having nothing else to do, I started writing a TV series, Peacemaker, mostly for fun, as I didn't believe it was ever going to happen. I wrote a whole first season in 8 weeks, and now here I am in my trailer on the first day of shooting. I just thought that was neat. It's a neat little peek into how ridiculously talented the guy is. And also the big news is Peacemaker's in production.
Yeah.
So, woo!
And, he made better use of his time than a lot of people did, apparently.
So, Titans has cast Savannah Welch as Barbara Gordon. It says in season 3, Gordon is Gotham City Police Commissioner. She uses a wheelchair. She used to be Batgirl until she was shot and paralyzed by the Joker. She has a combative relationship with Bruce Wayne. Her life gets more complicated when Dick returns to Gotham, rekindling their old romance and starting a new crime-fighting partnership. She is known for being in the History Channel's military drama 6, where she played a Marine who suffered an amputation in combat. She actually suffered an actual amputation in real life. In 2016, she was hit by a car, and she was already, acting, and she's a musician. I dig the casting as far as looks are concerned. She's a pretty girl, she looks like an Alan Davis drawing, which is interesting. I'm down. I liked everyone in Boyhood. She was in that movie, and I don't remember her specifically, but I liked everyone in the movie, so
nice.
We're good here.
Yeah. I like the character announcement in general, but the picking that part in the timeline, fantastic. That'll do really well in that universe. I'm kind of excited for it.
And I think like one of the reason I like point out that she looks like an Alan Davis drawing, that has meaning to me for some weird reason. I know what the reason is. One of the first comics I owned that had Barbara Gordon as Batgirl in it, because by the time I got of age enough to have a comic book, she was already, Oracle. And I'm a huge Batgirl fan. I love Batgirl from the old 66 series, and I had not had a chance to get around to like comic book shops or pick up reprints or anything like that. But the first comic I owned with Barbara Gordon as Batgirl was Justice League The Nail, drawn by Alan Davis.
Oh, gotcha.
So, she was only in it for a short period of time, right before Joker used those gauntlets to pick her up off the ground and crush her right before Batman's eyes, along with Robin. But it was fun to see her for a second.
Some flaying involved too, but
I mean, there may have been.
It was a bad day.
It was a bad day. He used the gauntlets to make Bruce's eyes remain open.
Yeah.
That was a rough time.
It was not the Bat family's best moment.
So the Batwoman and Superman and Lois crossover is officially canceled. COVID.
Yeah. Look, man, schedules are hard enough right now. Crossovers were just a victim of the circumstances.
The Flash has cast Shadowhunters star John Core as Mark Stevens / Chillblaine as a recurring role in the upcoming season. So that's weird and sounds lame. And I don't know the actor, but Chillblaine is lame.
You literally laughed when you said the word. Yeah, I mean,
and he'll have his own cold weapons and the whole thing.
I'm sure, and I'm a little bit okay with that. I don't know, man. There's only so many things you can come up with, like in the realm of physics, to compete with speed. Just the idea of speed.
I know. Here's the character description. Scientist Mark Stevens is a charismatic bad boy, obsessed with cryogenic technology. You don't hear that very often. But when he's not breaking into...
a good thing. We'll see.
Yeah. But when he's not breaking into corporate safes, he's busy breaking hearts with his irresistible charm and roguish style.
Okay, that sounds terrible.
Armed with his own cold weapons, he'll become a new thorn in the side of Team Flash as the DC Comics villain, Chillblaine.
That actively sounds that's a bad description.
It is.
Sorry.
It is.
I would love to hear if anyone has an alternative reading of that. I just can't imagine it right this second.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some listener feedback here.
All right.
Our buddy Scott from DC Film Squadcast. He heard me recommend to you 17 again. And he said, I own 17 again on Blu-ray.
He owns everything on Blu-ray.
He does. I was going to say that, but
he's his own Scott Buster.
You beat me to it.
We'll give him a little blue ticket broken logo.
But it is a good movie.
Yeah. I'm sure you're right. I don't know.
That might be a good point, Scott. You might need to come up with a different a different way to recommend something.
No, I mean, I mean, I respect the accomplishment, but but damn,
yeah. No, I've seen his wall.
it's a passionate man.
My wall puts most people's to shame. His wall dwarfs mine.
That is quite something.
Giuseppe Vicaretti, good old Juice, says, question, how will you guys plan on watching Justice League? I plan on sitting through the full 4 hours, but I might end up watching it in 1 hour increments.
I'm guessing it's going to be 4 installments for me in varying, amounts until I can get it watched. Mm-hmm. And that is not a matter of how I would like to enjoy it. That is going to be a matter of like familiar circumstance. I'm not going to be able to get 4 hours somewhere to just sit down and watch a thing in my living room with my child. Like I can't. Mm-hmm. That's not a thing. I'll have to watch it as best I can as I can do it for a couple days is my best guess.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do that differently, but that's probably realistically my answer.
Realistically, without placing any kind of shame on any party involved.
I blame my child.
I understand.
Okay. As long as we understand, I blame her fully.
But realistically, without me personally placing any blame on any party involved.
Innocent or not.
I will likely watch the first hour over the course of about 2.5 hours. Just because of starts and stops with my wife. She's a pause and talk, and I get it. I'd rather that than just talking over the people.
Yeah.
And then we kind of like, I think I'm very ADHD. I still need to get tested, but I get distracted easily. So I might say like, hey, pause it. I need to go find, a stick of cheese. And then I get lost in the kitchen for 1.5 hours and wind up making grilled cheese sandwiches. Right. Things happen. And then my wife will fall asleep because I'm not sure a full 4 hours is in her to watch this thing. And then I'll watch the rest of it and then look up and it'll be 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll be jonesing to talk to somebody about it. Nobody will be awake or everybody will be at work or something will happen like that. And then I'll look on Twitter and I'll see people are shitting on it and I'll get discouraged and I'll go to sleep sad.
Just a prediction.
But no, I don't know how
I'll have trouble getting it watched as far as like, I won't be able to have that much time, but probably most of it in one watch and just maybe like a couple on, a couple rewatches on either end or something or in the middle. But, I think within about 6 hours, I'll have a pretty good 4 hour understanding of the thing.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I would gladly just try to. 4 hours is going to be tough, man. It's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough for me to like get situated. It's going to be tough for me to like. I'll be really glad to be able to pause it so I can go piss.
Yeah.
And probably, if I'm being honest, shit a few times.
I remember bitching about because it was the theater experience, like 3 hour movies, Endgame even. I was like, man, dude, I would not argue with an intermission. And it was a rumored thing for a second. And I thought, I'm rooting for you. Like, I would like to have 10 minutes in the middle of all that to like go buy some more popcorn if I wanted to, or just go take a piss, whatever. Man, that is a chunk of time.
And I want to go back and do a theatrical rewatch and just to really like soak it in, and so I'll see the differences. Yeah, I'm not, I'll tell you, my only goal as far as how I'm going to actually view it is going to be, I'm not trying to stretch this out over some days. Like if it's available all at once, it's going to be everything I can do, every string I can pull to sit down and watch it fully in one viewing. And then, I'll go back for it. I'm sure several times. Yeah. But just to consume it firsthand the first time, I'm going to, I'm going to do everything I can as early as I can. Yep. That's roughly what I'm talking about.
If that's 4 hours with 2 piss breaks, awesome.
Yeah. My stomach does a thing where like I don't have to shit for days sometimes, but as soon as I really want to do something, that's when I've got to shit like 15 times in an hour. Like I just can't get anything done. I'm just like I think it's a nervous thing. I don't know.
It could be, actually, yeah.
It is. It's like a weird anxiety thing. I was like, oh, I've been waiting for Justice League for so long. Oh, I got to shit so bad.
Yeah, I get it. I get
it. Stephen Podcaster over on Twitter says, what do you think of the rumors that Henry Cavill's Superman will appear in the Flash movie? I think it's a no-brainer, to be honest, but what about you? And what do you think of his future? I don't feel as fans we should have to campaign for his return as we are. I mean, I don't, the guy's busy doing The Witcher. I don't think the campaigning is necessarily required. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
It's useful. It apparently
it's useful,
something that
sure.
They're paying attention to. So for sure, yeah, it's useful. But
yeah, I mean, hell, if we were really, instead of campaigning for Henry Cavill, how about campaigning for Ray and getting Walter Hamada out? Everybody's that upset. And let's, we can't just let's stop being so scatterbrained in what we're campaigning for. Like Ray's over here drowning, and we're over here screaming out Henry Cavill.
That's the thing, though. You can't pick what everyone's focusing on. It
I know.
Just won't work that way.
If Cavill's in Flash, that's fine. At this point, I've heard rumors that freaking DeVito is going to be the Penguin in the Flash, and I didn't even like him in Batman Returns, so I got nothing for that. I mean, if DeVito shows up as the Penguin in some form or fashion, that's fine, I guess. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan. But at a certain point, I'm kind of feeling like, when is this going to be a Flash movie? Because so far it just seems like it's like Batman, and, you hear possibly Wonder Woman, possibly Aquaman, possibly Henry Cavill, possibly everybody.
That's part of the problem is it could be everybody. I mean,
it could be,
man. I mean,
and if it is, it's not gonna. you're gonna have like the Civil War problem where they're like, it wasn't a Captain America movie. It was well, no, it was Avengers, like whatever it was, 2.5 or whatever the hell.
Yeah,
I don't remember where they were. Yeah. I never thought I'd say this, but here we are. Too many damn Avenger movies. I can't keep them straight.
It was 1, 2, 3, and 4 so far.
Nope, too many. Too many. My brain can't handle it.
Every other one at least has an identifiable number there, so that system works in general.
Oh, okay, I'm overstating the problem, but that's fine.
But I do get the sentiment of it for sure.
I'll watch it. I'm sure. Let's have Cavill. I'm one of those people who I don't care about there being a Superman sequel. Like, if they make it, if they come up with a reason or a way, and here's the thing, if they say, okay, we're going to make Man of Steel 2, that's what everybody wants to call it. Even though Man of Steel 2 was Superman, Batman v Superman, if they're doing a proper, solo movie with Henry Cavill, then everybody's going to start crying that Zack Snyder's not directing it.
There is no absolute win. For sure.
No. Even if Zack Snyder was like, I have no interest in doing Man of Steel 2. Like, that was never part of my 5 or whatever. And I can say that because he said it. 5 or however many movies plan.
Yeah.
Even if he says it wasn't my plan, I don't want to do that. But they're going to be bitching that he's not doing it.
There's going to be a section. I think the best thing is, dude, just let's get out of the Zack Snyder version of things. And see where it lands us as far as if we're going forward with that. And only then I feel like can we talk about if it's going to be a straight, Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I think...
Let's get the footage we actually have out there first and then see where we go. And, in the meantime, dude, the hype going into it, that really genuinely does a lot of good. These are new days, and that actually matters now.
Yeah, we can do the hype. I'm happy with cameos. I don't want to see, Flashpoint starring Henry Cavill.
No, I really would like it to be a Flash movie because it'd be nice for that character to have his time.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't really care about seeing another Superman movie until we get things cleared up with Zack Snyder and we figure out what's happening with the Snyderverse as it were. So there's that. The Nerd Man over on YouTube, and I feel like this is straight to me, says, I like Wonder Woman as a warrior, but unless it's an evil Elseworld, chopping off heads is too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I dig it.
Yeah.
I'm good. I mean, if they're evil heads, if they're bad guys, like if she's just like running around fighting dudes and not killing them, and then she like busts into like a friggin' warehouse where there's some like freaking dudes who are like sex trafficking, off with their heads.
Knock it out. Yeah, for sure. No one's going to fight you on this one.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
But that's me.
Yeah.
Randy Randy SF45 says 2 episodes in, and WandaVision is a rare hit among Marvel's television series. I have no idea why. I'm moving on from that, I guess. I don't know. You haven't seen it, and I don't enjoy it so far. So
we're gonna have to put a pin in that one. We will get back to you later.
Yeah, probably on Patreon.
You know, that is normally where our Marvel
that is
kind of goes. So, yeah.
That is. And I left this feedback in so that we could pimp the Patreon.
Oh, you devil, you.
I'm a dirty dog.
Yeah.
Matthew Salvatore says, what would your dream plot for Aquaman 2 and Wonder Woman 3 be? How do you want the stories to go? Without Walter Hamada. Without Geoff Johns. Go forth. I don't care enough about Aquaman to care. I don't have a dream plot.
I don't know if I do necessarily, except that some of the parts of the movie were deeply interesting. Like, I don't know what the hell Black Manta is going to come after, but it'd be fun to make him, him and Momoa's equal standing in some capacities morally. That would be fun. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know where I would put that.
I mean, I think if someone just came to me and said, "Hey, Dave, you have to write a superhero movie, and it has to be Aquaman 2," and I'd be like, "Then what will happen if I don't?" And they're like, "We will put this gun in your mother's mouth." I think I'd probably just rip off Wrath of Khan. Yeah. You got Black Manta as Khan. He's coming for revenge. Do some variation of that. Maybe instead of like the Genesis device, maybe he's, getting a hold of something that'll wreak havoc on the land, some ancient Atlantean thing. I don't know. Just saying that just bores me. Wonder Woman 3.
You didn't make it that far. I do not have enough depth in Aquaman to pick like what storyline I'd go for exactly, because man, a lot of the storylines involve him being around just the beginning of the throne, and I mean, shit. Some of the latter stuff were just snippets I remember about, like losing his arm and stuff like that. Like, there's some really interesting moments, but I do not have a lot of arcs at my disposal. Yeah, just to grab one like that. But man, I mean, yeah.
Like if they make an Aquaman movie 2 or Aquaman movie 2. I'm an idiot. I say weird shit. I'm there for it. I'll watch it. And I'll probably feel roughly about the same way as I did as Aquaman 1 if they keep up the content and, Aquaman doesn't rape somebody.
Also fair.
I mean, I would have said that before Wonder Woman 84, but now I feel that that's a real consideration.
Just, an asterisk you're to put at everything.
Yeah. I'm like, I want all the things. And then 84 came out and was like, well, not all.
I want everything except the rapey stuff. Let's just do another way of that. Another thing I could say about Aquaman at least is I think whatever happens, I want it to be Aquaman and Ocean Master dealing with it together. Just those actors were phenomenal in the roles, and shit, man, they were a lot of fun to watch. So
yeah,
as long as I get to see them, I think I'll be pretty happy.
Now as for Wonder Woman 3, I don't know. I think, I've heard it bandied about that, they might come back to Cheetah. I don't want any more Cheetah. I'm good. I don't need another damn frame of Cheetah. Let's leave her ambiguous. I'm good. I'd much rather see someone like Circe.
Yeah.
That's just my own,
anything in the magic or god realm. There's plenty to choose from. I can get behind that.
And what would be interesting is, who knows? Like, Gal Gadot's talked about how she wants to make Wonder Woman 3 have closure. I think it would be great if, maybe Diana did do something that was a little, I don't know, universally immoral or something, and perhaps the whole movie is about like Nubia taking over as Wonder Woman. I don't know. I'd be down for that. Like, I'd be down with them being like, you've dishonored your, bullshit, and you don't deserve to wear that armor and stuff anymore. You know what I mean? Like, they could just do something like that and have Diana realize, like, well, shit, they're right. But
yeah,
and then of course there's got to be a team up with the two at the end to face a bigger villain or whatever. But probably Cersei if I had my way.
That could be a lot.
I don't know. I tell you this, I don't want Steve Trevor involved.
Yeah, damn, it was a great run, but let that one lie, Let it count.
Dr. Steve at Weird Medicine asks, is the liver a muscle or an organ? I thought it was an organ. I was pretty sure. Is there a punchline I'm missing here?
I thought I remembered saying something like that. But my take was, if it's a muscle, it needs to be stretched, and if it's an organ, it needs to be played.
I know you've been playing your organ for quite a while.
It's a very flexible situation.
Low-key in 83 says, long question. What do you guys think of a 4-film live-action question movie? The first 2 movies featuring Vic Sage and are directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and the next 2 features Montoya and is directed by Edgar Wright. Short answer, no.
My medium answer is second half. Fuck yeah, of course that sounds good. I love Montoya question.
And Edgar Wright.
Yeah, and but part 1 of that,
I'm confused.
Think about it this way: M. Night doesn't have to actually end the movie. And that's where he runs into trouble sometimes.
Right. I'm confused why it has to be this structure. I don't know why M. Night has to be doing anything.
Oh, I think he was just talking about splitting it up into, like, you produce this half, this is where the script gets, and we're going to do that thing.
Yeah, but, like, it's such a weird combination of Shyamalan and Edgar Wright. Like, why is Edgar Wright doing the Montoya stuff? Why is Shyamalan doing the Vic Sage stuff? Why is Shyamalan even involved at all? Why is Edgar Wright involved at all? I like Edgar Wright. I like Shyamalan from time to time.
Well,
I don't understand.
In one kind of major storyline, it gets handed off to Montoya. I mean, there's a whole arc there that I just
I understand that.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, I understand that, but tonally, it feels it's as strained as Burton and Schumacher. Which, by the way, if the man were living, Schumacher would be a fantastic choice to do the question. Look at number 23, dude. Like that, like gritty, weird, retro detective conspiracy shit. Oh my god.
I did forget about that. I'd be curious to go back to that one.
But yeah, like I would like.
No, they're very tonally different. I'd be curious. Like, I wonder how much it's different to see the first half of an M. Night movie and then see it turn into, like, all right, for instance, Hot Fuzz is like a mystery film and then it turns into an action film. And it's got a very, like, clear breaking point. Whereas a lot of the other, the Carnage trilogy in general has genre breaking moments, but they're scattered. This one's structured in how it does it.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, in the first half, I think it might come across differently. In the second half, and same thing. It's not it's an odd question, but it's not completely out of order. I think there's something there for sure.
I mean, I think I need to know. This question comes from the same place as that Ezra Miller video of him choking the lady. I have no context for it. I don't know where it came from or how it came to be. I don't know what it means.
Right.
Or what implications there might be for it. I don't know why Edgar Wright specifically with Montoya or Shyamalan with Sage, or why those two directors paired. I'm so confused. But if I had to choose just on the face of it, on just looking at this question, I say no to both. One, because I want Edgar Wright working on his own shit because that's where I think he's happiest.
Maybe.
And he's actually given the creative freedom to do what he wants.
If all I got out of that suggestion was an Edgar Wright directed, conspiracy-based question movie, I don't care who was the actual subject playing the question. If it was the unraveling of a great mystery and Edgar Wright was involved, I would think you've got a good start.
I mean, that's a good point. If they actually have like a solid mystery, oh my God. How about 4 films? They're all the question.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, take those 4 films and condense it into one. You have the plots from 4 different films, and you have the handing off from Vic Sage to Montoya, and it's all in the same movie. And there are 4 different plots. That's just a Coen Brothers movie. And they do great mysteries.
Yeah.
So, just one question movie, directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. I'm good.
I feel like you're in an entirely different space from the question, but at least we found a spot where you're happy.
Well, it's an entirely different space from the question, but I reject the question. Like, I rejected the question, and then I rejected the premise of the question.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what do you think of it? I don't like it. But that's me. M. Night, too, is one of those guys that I just kind of want to see him do his own thing. I feel like he is not done. I feel like half the time he doesn't do well with his own shit. Much less when there's a studio telling him what to do with an IP.
Well, this is why I was saying, like, maybe the most brilliant part of that suggestion was putting M. Night in charge of just the first half.
Maybe, but
all he has to do is raise a ridiculous question, and somebody else picks up the pieces and makes it work.
Here's the thing about it, though. I like the question enough. I'm not willing to risk it.
Yeah.
On Shyamalan. Period. Edgar Wright, yeah, I'd risk it on Edgar Wright. I'd see what he could do. I'd be like, Edgar, what do you have for this? Let's just see.
What do you need? 120 mil? Okay.
Do you think you'd fight with the studio? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Shyamalan, I have, like I said, more than half the time. Not even half the time. More than half. He does not even get his own shit right. Where he just you're like, what did you do here? What did you accomplish with Glass, M. Night? Tell me what you thought was happening.
Yeah.
So
instead of me saying, well, I didn't know if I'd appreciate what they were going for, why don't you tell me what you're going for, buddy?
Right. And instead of risking never having another question movie or the question forever, or at least for the next 20, 25 years, or probably most likely my lifetime, being eschewed as an unlikable, unworkable character, how about just don't put Shyamalan in the position to screw you over like that?
Yeah.
Because he's not, you can't trust the guy.
Yeah.
You never know what he's going to do. Yeah. And then it'll be like the question isn't real. The question is only true in his own mind. And he'll do some kind of weird shit with the answer. And again, it's going to be something stupid. I don't know.
This is why, don't leave him in charge of second half.
And then Bryce Dallas Howard's going to be there, and she'll be blind and super hot as normal. But then there'll be a plane, and she'll be like, what's that? It's witchcraft. And no. Just no.
Yeah. And then Edgar Wright will come behind later and nickname her something and hand
and then he'll quit
Nick
mid-movie.
Frost a copy of a sheet of paper, and she's a drawing in the back of it, and it'll be fine.
And people are calling Peyton Reed, asking him if he knows anything about the question.
Yeah. No, actually, Nick Frost will go out to an ice cream truck at some point, and that little painted version that was the shitty Spider-Man will just be her, and that'll wrap it up.
All right, Jay, Scotty, St. Clair. Can you guys do a fantasy draft of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad members based on when and where they will meet their demise? What do we come up with? I left it to you and Scotty to hammer out the deets in direct messages because I don't know anything about sports ball. I don't know anything about the fantasy things. I don't know how fantasy drafts work. I used to do that radio show, the Entertainment Roundtable. They did fantasy draft for movies and the box office. I never understood it. They just told me to pick movies, and I just picked them.
Yeah,
I just said movies.
I don't know how those systems work. I do know how fantasy sports work in general, but we came up with a very simple version of this to perform here.
Simple because of me.
Also because of time, but
Mostly me.
But it mostly was a very easy way to accommodate you on the topic.
I watched 7 seasons of The League, never figured out how fantasy football worked.
Oh, they didn't explain that well at all. And at times, frankly, they contradicted. But I think we have a version here that's going to be more, less fantasy football and more like middle school dodgeball.
Okay. Well, just tell me what to do.
All righty. So here's what we came up with. It is, I'm going to call it a suicide pool. It's kind of what you and I are going to do is pick teams. And it's just going to be like a 1-to-1 thing. You know, if, you score 1 point or you don't. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through every member of the Suicide Squad as it's been officially listed, which is 17 members as I have them listed. And you're pretty much going to pick who's on your team. And you want the people on your team who are going to die quicker. So we're going to go, we're going to pick the person we think is going to die the soonest or fastest. Anyway, so it doesn't matter when they die in the film. It just matters that they die by the end of the film. So we want the smallest Suicide Squad each when we finish after picking with this game.
Right.
Feels horribly explained. But a couple fine points are, we're going to go with the whole idea that, if they are reasonably dead on screen, if we can presume that they are dead, we're going to assume they're dead. If anything is strange enough that we just absolutely have to, if some tiebreaker is needed because something's just absurdly gray, we'll probably just post on Twitter like, hey, do you think this person died or lived? And let that be a tiebreaker here. Short of that, I was just going to flip a coin to see who actually picked their team members first, because there are 17, including the slightly ambiguous King Shark. And one of us is going to have a disadvantage numbers wise.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Not that when whoever goes first just picks the first person, right?
Yeah, we just go back and forth after that. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Making sure. Yeah, that's fine. I got you.
And I sent you a picture of what I'd written down. So how many of those can you read?
All of them.
That's a miracle. We had to have worked together all this time to have gotten us to this point.
Yeah. No, I've actually, maybe I gave them back to you. I think I found some notebooks that had some of your writing in it. I went, oh, that's Jason.
You can tell because it's terrible.
Oh, no. So is mine. It's just a different terrible.
That's fair.
But I could read it.
That's the kind of thing. I can read mine, but I have to almost go back and decipher it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Like, you should see some of Matt's notebooks. It looks like he's writing with his feet. It's just... it's just.
Some of mine are just, it looks like I threw the pen thinking about a letter. It's bad.
And I get it. I see that.
All right. So I'm going to let you call. All right. So the way we're going to do it, we're going to add the points up, and you're supposed to pick in order of least. So if you call it correctly on the coin toss, I have to go first. I think that's how that's going to go. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. I guess. I'm just going to say whatever. I don't know. And you tell me what happens.
I mean, I think that makes sense.
So
whoever goes first is going to have 9 people on their squad versus the other person is going to have 8 people on their squad. So they have a numbers advantage.
Right.
Or you and I could just go back through one of these. Let's do that instead. Which character do we both think is not going to die?
I think that's pretty easy. Should we just mark out Harley right away?
Right. So we just mark out Harley right away. And this was all a fun consideration game. Now we're back to if you win, you pick first, and that's as simple as that gets. Ready? I'm picking my, this is on the two-faced coin. So, scratched out heads or heads?
Scratched out.
All right, ready? That was regular heads.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
All right, so who dies first? Damn, it's a great question. And off the top of my head, I'm going to say, this is not even the top of my head anymore because this is already difficult. Damn, it's a good cast. There's a lot to argue for. I'm going to say Weasel.
Okay.
I'm going to put Weasel in my call. Who you got next?
Blackguard.
You just want Pete Davidson to die or Davidson to die?
I don't see him living, man.
Yeah. Oh, I should have listed this real quick. Waller, Rick Flag, Harley, who we marked off, Boomerang, Bloodsport, Polka Dot, I'm just all in shorthand, Peacemaker, Savant, Jovelin, Ratcatcher 2, Thinker, Mongal, Blackguard, Soria, TDK, Weasel, and King Shard, if anyone wants to keep track. But, all right, so we got I think Thinker. I think he's going to die pretty early. And,
Really?
Maybe definitely. Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
The anticipation. I love it.
I think Javelin.
Think Javelin?
Yeah,
Old Flula?
absolutely.
Gonna Borg the fuck out? All right. Now we're getting to, let's see. We still got some Ratcatcher on the board, some Mongel, Soria. I'm gonna go with Soria here
That's fair.
because I think they might be trying to create a character. They've got a couple characters they're creating, and I felt like you're gonna kill one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know anything about Soria, so I'm picking her right now.
Yeah. I think it's a totally James Gunn move. I think it's going to happen. The guy's busy. I think Bloodsport's dead.
He's out. All right.
I think he's done. Idris Elba, I think he's gone.
That's bold.
He might even be the first to go. First 5 minutes of the movie. Boom.
Yeah, it's bold. Let me grab my pen. All right. What's we got left here? God, we've taken care of a lot of these people already, I guess. I'm going to go with Fillion.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I don't feel like we're going to have him at the end of the movie at the very least. And
I don't think so.
that's the only metric, I guess, that's going to matter for scorekeeping purposes. Sorry, Fillion, TDK, whatever. Arms Off Man.
Yeah. So who do you have now? You said Weasel, TDK, Soria, and Thinker. Is that right?
Yeah, Thinker, Soria, TDK. Yeah, that's my team so far. You've
Okay.
got Bloodsport, Javelin, and Blackguard. Also, not bad choices. This is a team of people who are supposed to die.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It's not bad choices as far as that goes.
This is getting tough now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're into some big names and big characters.
See, I would say Savant if it was played by anyone but Michael Rooker.
It's hard to kill Michael Rooker.
And I know I've seen some set pictures of him near the very
Not that
end
it
of the
hasn't
movie,
been
so-
done.
No, not that he has. Yeah, by James Gunn.
Famously, by the trick.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Polka Dot Man.
You think Polka Dot Man? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was a good call too. That's probably where I would have gone next to myself. All right, so that's number 8 overall. I'm just writing down the overalls in case that's interesting later. All right, so now I've got left at this point Waller, Flag, Boomerang, Peacemaker. You're leaving me with Savant, Ratcatcher. Well, shit, Mongel. I'm taking Mongel on here. I'm staying real low on this list, is what I'm realizing.
Yeah.
I'm taking Mongel.
Okay.
That's going to be my fifth pick here for
That's all right.
likely to die.
Because I'm taking Ratcatcher too.
That's fair, I must say. I could see that. All right, so that's number 10.
I just couldn't imagine, I couldn't believe you picked Thinker so quickly because I just can't imagine they're going to kill Capaldi that quick. He's so great.
Yeah, and that's part of what influencing my decision, thinking that so quickly. Why that occurred to me. Why it still occurs to me as a real possibility.
Yeah.
All right, so now, man, we're down to just the dregs of possible deaths, I guess. Waller, Rick Flag, Boomerang, Peacemaker, Savant, and King Shark.
Uh-huh.
Damn. Yeah. That's rough. King Shark, though.
I was going to pick him if you didn't.
I hate that. I hate picking it. I really do.
I mean, he's a CGI character.
Yeah.
That's a good call. That's always a good call.
I think part of what's influencing me there is we know on set it's going to be Steve Agee.
Yeah. Well, he's the warden. Yeah, he's the warden at Bel Rev, I guess, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and we don't know who the voice is. And for some reason, something that sets me off there is thinking man, we don't know who the voice is. It could be something that's really spectacular, like something unsustainable.
I'm praying for Ron Funches.
Oh God, yes, absolutely. And I would even be okay with it being some swan song for him. They kill him off in the movie, and he doesn't show up in the animated again.
Yeah, that'd be funny. I mean, except that I just want more of him. So no.
Other than that, other than the fact that he's delightful as shit, and I want to see more. Yeah, that would be just esoterically it'd be a neat turn.
All right, so
I feel sorry for what you have to choose from at this point, but I'm gonna follow you. So
yeah, you're gonna be screwed because I'm going Rick Flag, buddy.
that's where I would have gone myself. All right, fair enough. Similar. I'm going. Shit. I'm going Savant.
That's fair. I would have gone there next.
And then I believe, we're
down to the nitty gritty, man.
just checking on what all we got left here. yeah, it's all right. So we're down to Peacemaker and Boomerang and Waller.
And I am gonna go Boomerang just because he doesn't have an HBOmax series attached. And James Gunn said season 1 of Peacemaker, which would seem to at least allude to the fact that there may be a season 2.
Yeah. All right. So that puts you with that 17th, 14th choice, and so it leaves me. All right. Between Waller and just I gotta go Waller, right?
Yeah, I would think.
I don't think I have a choice. But I'll tell you what, just for fun, I'm gonna go Peacemaker.
That's what I would have done. You son of a bitch. I was like, yes, do that. It's like, I don't want Waller on my list, man. She's like the thing that everyone said was good about the first one.
Yeah, there's a part of me that thinks like, man, you could make a prequel to Peacemaker just as well as you could continue the story.
I know. I wasn't going to point that out. I had Better Call Saul in my head. I'm like, you can't do more than one season of a prequel. And then I'm thinking like 6-7 seasons of Better Call Saul. Yeah, Dave, sure.
So, Harley Lives is the thesis we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Just for funsies, let's go through it in reverse order. Who we think is the most likely to die, apparently, given all of our votes. And all right, let's see. We got between us, we think Weasel, then Blackguard, then Sulsoria, then Javelin, then who's number 5? Well, that was a terrible note. Where did I leave that one? Nope, my bad. All right, so that was number 3. Thinker, number 4 Javelin, number 5 Sulsoria, number 6 Bloodsport, number 7 TDK or Arms Off Man or Arms Off Guy. Is it Arms Off Man or Guy?
It is Arms Off Boy, I think.
Arms Off Boy, dear God.
Arm Fall Off Boy.
Arm Fall Off Boy. There you go. That sounds right. Yeah. All right, so God, I'm sure people were very mad at us before that.
I don't think so.
8 Polka Dot. 9 Mongal. We got number 10 Ratcatcher 2. 11th most King Shark or whatever variation he's being played by. Let's see. 12 we're up at Rick Flag. That's an inspired call, I would say. 13 Savant. 14 we got Boomerang, and 15 Peacemaker. Oh, nope. 16 Waller and 17 Harley Quinn herself. I'm surprised by some of the people that made the very back end of that list, but
yeah, I don't think Waller or Harley will die.
Yeah, that would be. I think they're good guesses. Yeah.
I also don't think Mongol or Weasel will die, or Boomerang. Everybody else, I think, will die.
Here's the other thing. Those are also really good guesses.
Yeah, I think Capaldi will appear to die and then post-credits not be dead. Or he'll have uploaded himself to some kind of consciousness or some bullshit.
I mean, I would accept that as an outcome here. Like I said, so if somebody dies on screen, like you see the body, like a like we talked about before, like doesn't have to be, Roman Sionis exploding physically kind of thing. Just if you're visibly, presumably dead, that is clearly one thing. If you're presumably dead, like you fell off a giant cliff and, we never quite saw the body, but, planes were flying underneath where the cliff ledge was. You're probably dead. There's that. Then there's, if somebody's revived or, like I said, if it gets into a gray area where we don't know who died, we'll just throw that on Twitter and see if anyone wants to tie break it for us.
Yeah.
Would be curious though. I mean, and I'll test the order as it goes too. It's gonna be real fucked up. Like we were picking most likely to be dead by the end of the film. We weren't picking most likely to die in order of like the film as you see it. So, and damn well, because this is how films work. It's some of the people, the high bills are gonna die before the low bills and stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works out. We'll keep track of it. I have a physical track of it here, and we'll come back for it.
Yeah,
post the results.
Yeah, you can kill some of the people some of the time.
But not all of them?
But not all of the people all of the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think Abraham Lincoln said that.
Thing is, you can, but only once.
That reminds me of the talent show Wolf in the cartoons. Remember the cartoon where like the people are seeing all the talent people, like and the wolf keeps coming in and begging to audition, and finally they're like, okay, we'll see you. And then like he does this, I can't remember what he does exactly, but he basically eats dynamite and blows up, and then shows up as a ghost. And they're like, that was fantastic. He's like, yeah, there's only one problem. I can only do it once.
Yeah, that's about right.
David Wings just keeps posting cartoons on Facebook, and it's caused me to go down a few rabbit holes.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
I like old cartoons.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
All right. What other business we got? I think that's it for me. We just gonna come back to this in like a million years when it's out?
Yeah, I mean, whenever it apparently streams, we'll revisit the results and see where we are.
Right. And you're saving who we picked and all? Yeah.
Normally I eat the notes after the show, but
I mean, I know you do that, but
I'm gonna preserve these.
Okay, good. You're like in battery acid. No, please.
As one does.
Well,
I have a mixture of bleach and chlorine that I'm going to stand right over while I preserve these papers. Call and check on me in a few hours. Maybe send a loved one.
No.
911? Can't be bothered?
I mean, maybe I'll shoot you a text.
Just might call you on Skype, even though I know your mic's going to be muted at that point.
Right. No, there is a possibility. We don't know. I could shoot you a text, and then I'd be worried because you're not responding. It's just because you've passed out.
Naturally.
I mean, sounds like you're on the verge of doing that here and now. And I have been. I mean, shit. Like I was waiting on you to do the show, and I fell asleep at my desk. So, I mean, I don't know if I'll be around in a minute. Yeah. But I'll if I wake up and I don't have any messages with Reddit links in them, I'll be worried. That's how I know you're still okay.
I would love to see that in a description of like a missing persons report. Officer hasn't linked me anything funny in 48 hours. I think we need to, investigate it.
Addendum. Officer, he hasn't linked me anything he thinks is funny.
And you editing it after a long stare. I mean, I don't think that'll affect your investigation, but if you could put that down, I think it would be more accurate. I mean, go look for him. I'm just saying, if
I want it put on public record that I don't think everything he thinks is funny is funny. I need that there. Yes, of course he was my best friend. Why do you ask?
Have you never wanted to backhead a best friend? Well, then do you truly have friends?
Like, seriously, sometimes you send me shit and I'm like, is the content funny or are the comments funny? Because the comments are pretty good.
What in the absolute fuck am I supposed to be focusing on here?
Yeah, and I'll be like, question mark, and you'll be like, the comments. And I'm like, yes. Agreed.
There are times where I wish I could just make a PowerPoint presentation for a thought I'm trying to have and send that instead of what actually gets sent.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
But most of the time it's like, I have 3 seconds. Maybe it'll come across well. We'll see.
Yeah.
Off you go. Goodbye, Link.
Now I've got that, don't you know that you are a shooting star song in my head.
Why?
Because you're the mama coming to the door with a tear in your eye, and the link that you're sending off is going off to, play his guitar.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what I would have thought of unless you had said that, but anything else. So,
Reddit said,
so
don't
many.
cry, Jason. Just smile and say goodbye. Don't you know?
I can't.
Don't you know?
No.
Dave's going to wake up and not know what the hell you're talking about.
No.
Don't you know? He's so confused.
I don't hear any more of this song.
You'll have it in your head all day tomorrow.
I really might. No, I'm already resenting it going forward. The tab's already started on that.
I mean, it starts out where he got a Beatles record, right? So I think it was Love Me Do. From there, it didn't take him long, We are DC On Screen. You can find every episode at DCOnScreen.com, or you can find our Patreon page through DCOnScreen.com, as well as Patreon.com/DCOnScreen. You can go and check out our merch. You can go and donate money. You can, look around and check out the broken links. Those are cool.
Always.
I'm working on it.
It was a large project.
It is a large project, yes. I blame Blog Talk Radio for ceasing to exist.
That was a hindrance.
All right, well.
It's the equivalent of us waking up one morning and finding that the bones in our right leg no longer existed. Oh my. Walking has developed a situation.
Oh, right leg.
You mean right leg, right hip, and left lower spine?
Oh, no, what I heard, and it might be due to the internet, it might be due to slurred speech on your part or my own exhaustion. Mm-hmm. What I heard was finding that you had no bones in your rat leg. And I struggled.
Dave, buddy.
I was like, why does Jason have a rat leg?
What
I envisioned was like some poor rat's leg on your end table, and you wake up and pick it up and go, what the hell? This used to have bones in it.
It was a stretch anyway, but to have stretched it into that.
I mean, I heard rat leg. I wasn't stretching it. That's just what I heard. And I was like,
that's just how you made sense of what you thought. Yeah.
What the hell is Jason talking about?
Yeah.
He's talking about not having bones in his rat leg.
It's better than I can come up with, because I cannot come up with anything at this point as to what that would mean if I just started. Oh, no.
Thank you for listening.
Tell me what the fuck a rat leg would be. Bother me all night. I mean,
until now,
what a rat leg is, but if I was trying to make it a metaphor, what the fuck is it?
You understand my problem. I'm
light but quick and stretchy.
I mean,
slightly larger than you think and bendy. These all sound like penis things now.
I wish I were the type of person who had the balls to name our episode, These All Sound Like Penis Things Now. And for the first 2.5 hours of the show, no one knows why it was called These all sound like penis things now.
Oh, 2.5. We're almost at 3.5 hours recording.
Yeah, but we recorded for like an hour before the show.
That's true.
And then we took breaks, so.
It was a good ballpark, actually.
I know. That's why I said it. That's right. I can be a
No,
dick
you
too.
got this one. You get through that confident thing.
Yeah, I'm not confident. I'm going to be putting extra ads in the show to make sure it gets out to 2.5 hours. No. Okay. Well, me and Jason and Jason's boneless rat leg.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you guys next episode, probably next week. But, sometimes weird shit happens. And I hate saying next week indefinitely because... But it'll be soon. Until next time.
We'll be back shortly.
Until next time, please tip your waitresses and keep some DC on your screen.
Bye.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.
We all love the low country lifestyle, which is why we should do our best to protect it. To get insurance that helps you protect your home from whatever the low country throws at you, contact CT Lowndes & Company today. Their local agents can review your coverage to help make sure you're properly protected. CT Lowndes & Company has been helping protect and insuring the low country since 1850. Visit ctlowndes.com to learn more and request a quote. That's CTLOWNDES.com.